And welcome back to another issue of On the Shelf, your weekly dive into comic news, geek culture, and everything in between. I'm Simon. Today, we're jumping into our first installment of Retro Revivals. This is the segment where we look at classic franchises from the past and explore how they've been reinvented for today's audiences or could be invented for today's audience. And today, we're tackling a big one, Masters of the Universe. So grab your power sword and let's head to Eternia. Masters of the Universe exploded onto the scene in 1982 with Mattel's revolutionary toy line and accompanying cartoon He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It was initially created to market the action figures, but quickly transcended its purpose, becoming a cultural phenomenon. Kids were captivated by its vibrant, campy adventures, larger-than-life villains, and He-Man's unforgettable battle cry, Few franchises embark geek nostalgia as profoundly as Masters of the Universe, or what is known as MOTU. From dominating the 1980s toy aisles to captivating audiences on Netflix and thriving in modern comics, MOTU has continually evolved while maintaining its place in cultural powerhouse. Let's dive into the legacy franchise has reinvented itself through various media, merchandise, and a dedicated fan base. The original He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon was a vibrant, toy-driven adventure designed to bring Mattel's action figures to life. Kids everywhere fell in love with the idea of wielding power alongside He-Man and battling Skeletor. I was one of those kids. I could not wait to get home to watch He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which aired its first episode on September 5th, 1983, and continued through 1985. The New Adventures of He-Man, an animated series that ran from September 1st, 1990 until December 7th, 1990, and then in syndication in the second half of the 90s, while Mattel released the toy line He-Man, an update of their Masters of the Universe line. The cartoon series was intended to be a continuation of Filmation's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series, but unfortunately, Filmation's parent Westinghouse Broadcasting had shut the studio a year earlier. Instead, while existing in the same continuity, a new central story was created for this series. It also the first He-Man series to feature a Canadian voice cast. This would mark the final entry in the original Masters of the Universe continuity until He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and the franchise as a whole would be rebooted 12 years later by Netflix and Kevin Smith. Now, before we get to Netflix and Kevin Smith revival, we can't forget the 2002 animated series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is a reboot of the 1980s series, modernizing the story and characters with a fresh visual style and expanded lore. The series focuses on the internal battle between good and evil on the magical planet of Eternia. In this version of MOTU, young Prince Adam of Eternia, heir to the throne of King Grandor and Queen Marlena, is granted the power to transform into He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, by a mystical sorceress of Castle Grayskull. Armed with his mighty power sword and accompanied by loyal allies, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Orko, and Cringer, also known as Battle Cat, He-Man defends Eternia from the sinister forces of Skeletor. Skeletor, once known as Keldor, seeks to conquer Castle Grayskull to harness its ancient secrets and use them to rule Eternia. His villains, including Evil Lyn, Beastman, Trapjaw, and others, relentlessly challenge He-Man and the Friends, leading to an epic battles across the kingdom. In 2002 series delves deeper into the backstories of both heroes and villains, offering a richer and more nuanced portrayal of the characters. It also explores themes of responsibility, heroism, and the balance of power, blending action, drama, and fantasy in a way that appeals to both new and nostalgic fans. Despite lasting only 2 seasons, 39 episodes, the series is celebrated for its updated animation, mature storytelling, and respectful homage to the original franchise. It remains a beloved entry in the Masters of the Universe legacy. Now enters Kevin Smith and Netflix's Masters of the Universe Revelation, a series that reimagines the classic MOTU with a mature narrative, guided by Kevin Smith, known for his works like Clerks and Mallrats. Kevin Smith's show delves into the themes of legacy and loss while honoring the franchise's iconic elements. For the younger audience, Netflix also introduced a CGI reboot, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which updated the visuals with a tech-forward aesthetic. However, in my view, it still falls short of the pro-social messaging that defined the original Filmation series, because it was a groundbreaking in several ways. It shattered the Saturday morning cartoon mold by proving that animated series could thrive in a weekday time slot. Additionally, it disrupted the traditional business model by becoming one of the first children's shows to air in first-run syndication, setting a new standard for the industry. But what about the toys? The franchise launched in 1982 with Mattel's groundbreaking toy line, revolutionizing action figure marketing. Each figure included mini comics, it expanded the lore, and it gave in-depth characters. The He-Man action figures quickly became a cultural phenomenon in the 1980s, celebrated for their muscular designs, heroic storylines, and aspirational appeal to young boys who dreamed of embodying strength and courage. These figures were part of a richly imagined fantasy world that encouraged creative play, further bolstered by their high successful cartoon series that solidified the characters' enduring legacy in pop culture. When it comes to the modern MOTU toys, MOTU Origins was a retro-style toy line launched in 2020, blending a classic design with a modern articulation. These figures let longtime fans relive the magic while introducing the characters to new generations. Then there's the Masterverse collection. This premier collector's line ties into Revelation and features detailed, highly posable figures for fans who want to display worthy collectibles. Collaborations and crossovers galore. MOTU has entered pop culture, collaborations from Funko Pop figures to Lego-style Mega Construct sets, ensuring He-Man stays in the spotlight. But what about this spotlight? Mattel's innovative design and marketing strategies have consistently adapted to trends, keeping the franchise alive in toy aisles and collector shelves alike. To keep the story alive, Eternia was placed in print from 2012 to 2020 by DC held the license, and these comics expanded Eternia's lore, offering more complex character arcs and darker storytelling, which DC has been doing with many of their properties. In 2023, Dark Horse Comics launched the Masterverse line. This anthology series celebrates 40 years of MOTU by showcasing alternate versions of He-Man and Skeletor, from gritty noir to medieval fantasy. But why does MOTU still hold the power? From the shelves to the toy stores to streaming platforms, Masters of the Universe continues to thrive by blending timeless themes of heroism and friendship with innovative storytelling and collectibles. Its ability to adapt while honoring its roots makes it one of the most successful retro revivals of our time. And what was your favorite revival of all time? Was it Kevin Smith? Was it DC? Was it 2002? Was it the New Adventures of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? Check out the poll below and let us know. And that brings us to a close of another issue of On the Shelf. More news can be found on our website and across social media, where you can find all the news and reviews from a world of geek culture just by using the links in the show notes below. Our email is constantcollectible@gmail.com, and I'll be back next time where we find out what's on the shelf. In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all things Constant Collectible to keep you up to date with the news and the reviews from a world of geek culture. I'm Simon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time when we find out what's on the shelf. Until then, keep reading, keep collecting, and keep those comics ready for the next adventure.